I just recorded for like 3 minutes and then found out that I hadn't hit record. My camera just turned itself off. I was like, what happened? Off to a great start. I think that kind of is metaphorical for how I feel about this video overall. I'm planning on this video being a little more open, less scripted, just me sort of rambling. And that's because I like to do these favorites videos at the end of each year. So I've been planning on making this video literally all year. But back in April, I made this quarantine recommendation video, and I liked that video. I actually was pretty proud of that video, and I enjoyed making it. But at the time, I was thinking, okay, you're gonna be inside for like a lot of this year. You will definitely have things to recommend at the end of the year if you recommend some things now. And it turns out that was not super true. I don't know, did anyone else have this problem where you went into like a quarantine, social distancing, work environment, and you thought, oh, I'm gonna like get caught up on my reading list, I'm gonna do all my Netflix watch later stuff, you know, and then you just worked more than you did before? I don't know if that's just me. I did not get as much done while working from home as I thought I would. Well, I got a lot done. It was just work, not enjoying things. All that to say that for a favorites video, this is gonna be maybe a little bit less substantial than usual, but I do have a handful of things to recommend from this year. The first category I wanna talk about is shows. And the first show that I wanna talk about is a show that I've been like really into for the past 2 or 3 years. And I don't know how I haven't talked about it. And that's The Good Place. This year is basically my last chance to talk about it because they had their series finale this year. A lot of my friends were talking about how great The Good Place was. And I was like, nah, I don't really do comedy that's targeted at adults. Like, I've never really found The Office, Parks and Rec, like all these shows that people my age think are so hilarious aren't my style. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna bother. But I guess after a while I caved to the pressure, and oh my goodness, it's hilarious, and it's also deep, and it's kind of like BoJack Horseman. Like, it's a comedy, but you know, it's not just a comedy. It like talks about a lot of pretty complex themes. So like, there are things to enjoy that aren't just, you know, dumb humor. There is dumb humor, but because you get to know the characters and empathize with the crazy situation that they're in, it makes the comedy funnier. That's just how comedy works in my brain. It's basically a show about a group of people who are in the afterlife, and without giving too much away, there's sort of a plot twist about the situation that they're in the afterlife. They know they're dead. That's given away from the very beginning. It's like, hey, welcome to the afterlife, you're dead. But they're trying to figure out how to sort of deal with the situation that they're in because they know that they're there for all of eternity. So the stakes are kind of high. And the group that gets kind of forced together is very, I was gonna say diverse. By diverse, I don't really mean like in terms of race and stuff, although that's true too. But I really just mean like their personalities are very diverse. You have Chidi, he's like all up in academia. He's very smart. You have Jason, who's less smart. He has his moments, but in general, his judgment is not the best.
Yeah, a nurse did that to calm me down once when I crashed my jet ski into a manatee.
Tahani is rich. That's kind of her thing. She's rich and she really wants to please people. And then our main character, Eleanor, who is kind of the one that we're supposed to empathize with. She seems the most normal, and she's also played by Kristen Bell, who I love. Oh my gosh, I love Kristen Bell. She plays Anna in Frozen, and you know how I feel about Frozen, and you know how I feel about Anna. So I mean, like, Kristen Bell, right? So she's there, you know, just all the characters, all the actors, oh my goodness. Jamila Al-Jamil, if I'm saying her name correctly, she is so wonderful. She talks a lot about like serious topics like body image and feminist stuff, and her tweets are great. The world that they're in just sets them up for some really hilarious situations, and also for, you know, deep conversations. So it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. The Good Place is great. I've also been watching lots of Star Trek Voyager. As I've mentioned in other videos, my husband and I are slowly watching through all the Star Trek series. Well, at least I am. I don't know if he's gonna watch everything, but I plan to. And right now we're on Voyager. We're about halfway through Voyager now, and I'm really liking it so far. One thing that I liked right off the bat about Voyager is that the whole series sort of revolves around them being sort of cast away into the Delta Quadrant, a very unknown part of space and they're having a lot of trouble getting back where they came from. And I think some people think that's boring, I guess, for some reason, but to me, I don't know, I think it's really exciting. It reminds me more of what's sort of going on in the original series, which, the original series is very much pitched as space, the final frontier. Every episode, it's like something that they haven't encountered before, most of the time. And then you get into Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and oh my goodness, Next Generation I think is my favorite Star Trek series. But as much as I love those, they don't feel as much like you're exploring space. It's sort of more like, oh, yep, there are some Klingons. Oh, there's the Romulans. Yeah, we know them. It's like, okay, it's not as exciting. But in Voyager, we're back in that sort of mindset of everything's new. We have no idea what could possibly happen. I was gonna say what could be around the corner, but there aren't really corners in space, but you understand what I'm saying. After watching Deep Space Nine and being sort of stuck on that space station, I started feeling kind of antsy while watching Deep Space Nine. I love the characters in Deep Space Nine. It's a great show, and it really, really grew on me as we were watching it. But I think part of the appeal of Star Trek for me is that something kind of crazy happens each episode. I really prefer just episodic weirdness to overarching giant wars and things like that. Nah, I don't need to know about your political stuff with the Cardassians or whatever. I don't care. I just want something weird. And that's what Voyager is giving me. That being said, my one problem with Voyager is kind of a personal problem. I'm having trouble connecting to any of the characters on Voyager. Normally what makes me get super invested in a show is if I kind of latch onto one character and I'm just sort of Data, my son! In Voyager, I don't feel like I particularly relate to anyone. Harry Kim plays clarinet. He's got that going for him. That's about it. I like the characters. I really, really like B'Elanna. I love Janeway. Don't even get me started on Janeway. She's so awesome. I love Seven of Nine's arc. Basically all the women in Voyager really kick butt, and that's great. I don't particularly relate to any of them, so I don't feel super excited whenever they come on the screen like I have with other characters, but I still like them. But overall, it's a really great show. I feel like it's really underrated in the Star Trek community, and I'm enjoying it a lot so far. And then way back at the beginning of the year, I watched through She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. A friend of mine recommended this to me. She really, really liked She-Ra. So this is a reboot of the 1980s She-Ra, and it's just kind of a more modernized version of the same concept. There's a girl named Adora, and she, for whatever reason, has the ability to transform into She-Ra, this really kick-butt, tall goddess lady with a giant sword she's just really strong and stuff. I don't really remember if they explain the reasoning of why Adora specifically has this ability, but she does. Oh, and one other layer of conflict in the show is Adora was originally a member of this group called the Horde, which is out to destroy the princesses. But when she realizes that she's She-Ra is a princess, so she's kind of on the side of the princesses, but she has loyalty a little bit to the Horde. So there's a sort of ongoing conflict throughout the whole series with how Adora feels about members of the Horde, specifically Catra, but basically She-Ra and the other princesses that they sort of pick up throughout the first season are working together to track down the leader of the Horde, Hordak, which is kind of a funny name. It's really, you're leading the Horde and your name is Hordak. That's all they could come up with. But anyway, it's kind of action-y, but it's, it's a cartoon. It's nothing crazy graphic or anything, but it's entertaining. I kind of had the same problem with She-Ra that I had with Voyager, which was I was not connecting to any of the characters. In fact, throughout the first season, I didn't really feel like I knew any of the characters at all. And maybe that's just because we were picking up a lot of new princesses, and because we were getting so many characters, I didn't feel like I was learning about each one. By the time I got to season 3, I sort of felt like I understood the characters, their motivations and backstories and things. I still didn't really connect with any of them. There was not a single character that I was just that's my person that I am obsessed with. And again, that does not make it a bad show. It just means that it was really hard for me to just get super into. Another thing that's really great about She-Ra, and I mean, if you know anything about She-Ra, you've probably heard of this, and that's that it has a lot of great female representation, LGBT representation, racial diversity, all that stuff. And I think that's really awesome. I think it's something that needs to be done more, especially in kids shows. You know, let kids see themselves on TV and have really awesome role models to look up to that look like them and can inspire and empower them. I think that's wonderful. So that's something that I really, really did like about this show. Overall, it did not necessarily stick with me a ton, and I think it's just because it's hard for me to get invested in something when I don't just like click with a character or two. It's still a really, really good show, and I would recommend it whatever age you are. Okay, next up I want to talk about games. I have just video games on my list. They're actually all Nintendo Switch games. I believe in my quarantine favorites video I talked about Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm going to try not to talk too much about it because, you know, if you want to see what I said, you can go watch my old video. I'm pretty sure it's over here. I don't know why I'm acting like, oh, what corner is it in? It's in this corner. I know it's in this corner because I've done this before. Anyway, New Horizons, it's great. I'm still playing it. I sort of like stopped for about a month, and then as Thanksgiving rolled around, I was like, I'm not gonna get to see my family for Thanksgiving, and I was really sad about that. So I wanted to do a little Animal Crossing Friendsgiving, and I set up all the Turkey Day furniture in my house, and we played musical stools or something, and that was kind of fun. And I got to see a bunch of people from my grad school program for the first time in a really long time. I mean, I didn't get to see them, but you know, I got to talk with them. I got to see their villagers, and that was really nice. So even though I think a lot of people aren't thinking about Animal Crossing that much anymore, it still deserves a mention in my 2020 favorites, and it's still really fun. Another game that I've also already talked about on my channel is Paper Mario and the Origami King. You can check that video out too if you want. I've always been a fan of Paper Mario. I really like games that are really story focused. I like games where you have to use like logic and solve puzzles and things. And even though, as I complain about in my other video, there's not a lot of the puzzle element in this game, I still think that the story was interesting. I actually found the ending very satisfying, and the characters, the few new characters that we get in this game are really nice. One thing that I was actually talking to a friend about was we felt like in like the first two Paper Mario games, each character has their own personality. So there are funny parts in the game, but maybe you have like one character who's a little bit funnier and one character who's a bit more normal, whereas in Origami King, just kind of everyone's funny. The funny is just like very evenly spread throughout the characters, which makes the characters feel less distinct. There weren't any like characters or bosses or anything that stood out to me as funny or interesting. And that's what happens when you're fighting staplers. Did we fight a stapler? I don't even remember. That's what I'm saying. Whatever. We fought some office supplies. Like, it's not memorable. That being said, I thought the jokes were funny. I thought a lot of the lines that the characters said were great. The music is so great just by talking about it. I have the battle music stuck in my head. That stuff slaps. I like the battle system. I found it entertaining. I actually really liked the boss battle, the way you have to use the arrows and stuff. I think it would have been, I would have really liked it if they had put that in like a different game and just sort of kept the classic Paper Mario fight mechanic, but you know, whatever. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting way to try something new. It plays it safe in some ways, but it's also innovative in other ways, and it has really great music and funny dialogue. So it was an enjoyable game. And then the other game that I have, probably the game that I've played the most this year, is Ring Fit Adventure. I think this time last year I talked about how I was like getting into having a regular workout routine and just trying to do a little bit of a workout every morning because it helps me sort of wake up and feel energized. And this year I started trying to do that with Ring Fit. Basically, Ring Fit Adventure was kind of like it scratched the Paper Mario itch that I had been having since I was like 12 years old. I could actually do probably a whole video talking about Ring Fit, but I know that it's not a game that a lot of people think about or care about, so if you are interested in hearing all my thoughts about Ring Fit, let me know. Basically, it's kind of like the Wii Fit game for the Wii, but instead of standing on a balance board or whatever, I don't know, I never really played the Wii Fit. So, you know, I could be totally wrong about this, but I think that Ring Fit has a more game focus, whereas Wii Fit is more just like, I'm guiding you through a workout. Ring Fit is like, you're working out, but that's only part of the like, you're not just working out to work out, you're working out to kill the little enemies on your screen. Basically in Ring Fit, the way that you destroy an enemy is by doing different workout moves, and you can do more damage to certain enemies if you do a move that matches the color of the enemy. So like arm moves are red, ab moves are yellow, etc., etc. And honestly, once I got to a certain point in the game, I actually started really having to strategize about how to beat certain bosses or different enemies. I would really have to think about, okay, I want 2 purple moves and 2 yellow moves and a red move and a green move. At one point I was like talking to Eric about like, I really like this game. I'm having to like strategize and stuff. And like, I was like thinking about the game when I wasn't playing it, which is not normally something I can say about working out. I don't normally like leave a workout and then think about like, oh, how can I do that better next time? I'm just not like that into working out. But the game actually got me thinking about it like outside of my workout sessions, which was pretty awesome. After a while, I completed the game, and I will say that the post game is somewhat lacking. I'm still doing Ring Fit workouts, but it's only like half of my workout now. Every morning now I do a Kyra Pro dance workout, which I feel like dance workouts are kind of cringy, but you know what? I'm in the privacy of my own home. I can do whatever I want. So I dance to Hamilton or High School Musical or whatever with Kyra Pro, and it's great. And that's the first half of my workout. I do some like cardio to get warmed up. And then the second half of my workout is Ring Fit, and that's where I do the more like strength things. And I have it set up right now to do like arms one day, abs one day, legs one day. And the way that it's set up, it's kind of like it forces you to do weirdly short workouts because it does a warm up and a cool down, but you can only put like 8 moves in, I think. So I don't know, I feel like if you want to do multiple reps of the workout, it wants you to do the warm up and cool down again. So that's why I started just kind of supplementing it with cardio. So that's one thing that, I don't know, I guess if they ever made a Ring Fit 2, it would be really, really cool if the post-game, the customizable workouts could be more customizable to how many reps you wanted, when you wanted to do, you know, warm-ups and cool-downs. Maybe they could just put them at the beginning and end of your play session and not at the end of each workout, if that makes sense. But yeah, real quick, you should also check out Kyra Pro. I'm planning on doing a whole nother video about like my top 20 probably YouTubers that I discovered in 2020, and she will probably be on there. So I'll talk more about her. But if you like dancing to pop music or musical theater and you feel like that'll motivate you to do some cardio, check out Kyra Pro. Her videos are great. Speaking of music, let's talk about the music that I got into this year. I think my biggest obsession this year was the musical The Last 5 Years. And I first watched this movie as the film adaptation with Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan. And I mean, you know, of course I'm gonna like something that has Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan in it. Like, they're both awesome. I've seen that a lot of people who really like the stage version of Last 5 Years don't really like this version. I think because I watched it first, it helped, you know, it forced me to like it more. I just started with this version because I saw that it was free on YouTube Movies or whatever it's called. And I'm like, you know, it's free. Basically, The Last 5 Years follows a 5-year relationship between Kathy and Jamie. And you start with Kathy's perspective right as they're breaking up. And Kathy is traveling backwards in time, and by the time you get to the end of the movie, she is at the point where they meet. And Jamie starts the movie at the beginning of their relationship and ends at their breakup. And they sort of like cross paths in the middle, and it's really interesting. You learn as the film progresses, like the motivations for why they broke up and that sort of stuff. And the songs are also just so great. They're great. So yeah, if you want to cry, watch The Last 5 Years. Woo! And then I have a couple YouTubers that I want to shout out here. Again, I'm trying not to talk too much about YouTubers because, like I said, I'm going to have another video about that. A couple music YouTubers that I really got into this year. And the first one is Going Spaceward. I discovered him through, I believe, Hank Green's live stream for his new book, An Absolutely Foolish Endeavor. A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor. Sorry, Hank. He had written a song, I think, about an absolutely remarkable thing. And he performed it on the live stream, and I was like, this guy has a really nice voice. Like, I don't know, it was something about like the style of his music and his voice. I was like, this guy's pretty cool. I'm gonna check him out. And I did, and I liked a lot more of his other stuff. He has a really funny / cute song about like quarantining with, it's like a romantic quarantine song. It's kind of funny. And I think one of the videos that got him really big was his cover of Frank Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon. And he added like a rap verse in there.
It's a miracle that Galileo never found you. If he did, he'd say the universe revolved around you. Fly me to the moon.
And that's kind of his overall style. It's like acoustic guitar rap. And I don't know, I really like it. It's very chill. And whenever he does like add a rap verse to something, it's so clever linguistically. I'm just like, yeah, he's great. He has really, really witty lyrics, a beautiful voice, and great, like the chord progressions in his song. Yeah, just check out Going Spaceward. He's great. And the other musician, kind of, that I found this year is the Dre Rock. I mean, he is a musician, but like his videos are a little bit more silly a lot of the time. He'll play a song based on the pitches that are made by his creaky door. One of the things that he'll do a lot is he'll play a cover of a song, but every time you say, like Watermelon Sugar High, but every time you say a fruit, I change instruments or something like that. But you know, he does play a lot of different instruments and he's really talented. But one of the more serious things that he does that I really enjoy is he'll do like pop punk covers of different songs. Like I know he did Folklore by Taylor Swift. I think he did one of the more recent Paramore songs, which is kind of cool to see a pop punk Paramore again. I'm an early 2000s kid. I like pop punk, so it's cool to hear new takes on that genre. So I guess he's kind of a silly addition to this list, but whenever I see one of his videos on my subscription feed, it does brighten my day, and their music, they're just, a lot of the time, they're kind of silly. And lastly, we have the other section. For this section this year, I mostly just have clothes and food. So even though my school was mostly virtual this year, I did have to teach 2 classes in person. And when that happened, I was like, hey, an excuse to buy new clothes. I had been wanting to try the website ThredUp for a while. By the way, this is not sponsored. I mean, I have like 800 subscribers. Like, do you really think that ThredUp is reaching out to me? Like, no. But I'd been wanting to try ThredUp for a while because several YouTubers that I watch rave about ThredUp. So I was like, I don't really want to go out to the stores, but I also like thrift shopping. So I was like, ThredUp, happy medium, right? And I went on there and I found several shirts that I liked. I know I keep telling you guys, like, tell me if you want me to do this video. But another video idea that I've had is basically like, ThredUp, is it really worth it? Showing you guys the things that I bought, what worked well, what didn't work so well, and kind of giving you guys my like honest consensus on whether or not I thought ThredUp. I'm actually thinking about doing it with like other things that you see people get sponsored by, just like sort of reviewing them and seeing if they're actually worth it. So let me know if you'd be interested in something like that. But anyway, the shirt that I got from ThredUp that I just like really fell in love with is this top. It's like kind of a flowy blouse, but it has like button action going on it. It fits kind of loose and I like to like tuck it in to my pants, and it's got these flowers here on the bottom. I love this shirt. I bought it and I was like, man, I hope this fits correctly, because if it doesn't, it's gonna look dumb. And it did not look dumb. I love this shirt. There's something about it that is just perfectly my aesthetic. I even took an outfit of the day picture in this shirt, and I never take outfit of the day pictures. The other thing that I'm wearing in this picture is these flats. And I was motivated to get flats like this by Ingrid Nilsson, who is not on YouTube anymore. And I'm really gonna miss her videos because I liked her stuff about, you know, fashion and sustainability and those sorts of things. And even though the things that Ingrid buys were often out of my price range, I liked her aesthetic. So basically I thought to myself, like, I wonder if I could find shoes that are sort of like the shoes that Ingrid wears, but cheaper. So these are from Shoe Carnival. They're nothing expensive, they're nothing fancy, but I basically wanted a flat that had kind of the pointy toe, because I don't know, there's something about it that feels more put together than the rounded toe, and the rounded toe feels sort of early 2000s to me, I don't know. And I also wanted something that showed like a lot of my foot, because I had been told that that would make you look taller. So it's kind of like an interesting balance of me coming to terms with my shortness. I've always been really self-conscious about the fact that I'm 5 feet tall. Well, not always, but you know, since like high school, when people started getting taller than me, right? Ever since I was 3 years old, I was self-conscious about being 5 feet tall. I've been self-conscious about my height for a lot of my life, right? So in a way, this is sort of like, oh, you're gonna look taller because you're showing more of your feet and it makes it look like your legs are longer. but at the same time, they're flats and not heels. And when I started teaching, I felt like I had to wear heels, I felt like I had to look tall, or like no one would respect me, and now I'm like, okay, look, I'm 5 feet tall, I'm wearing flats, maybe my legs look a little bit longer, but like I'm wearing flats. I don't know, I feel like these are more comfortable than heels, and they're in a weird sort of way helping me embrace my height. So I really like these, they're really comfortable, and they're soft. Like, they're great, they're great. And then a couple food related things that I want to talk about. My biggest obsession for the past several months has been chickpeas. I don't even remember what motivated me to do this. I think it was just like the price of hummus. I love hummus, but hummus is expensive. I decided, okay, I'm sick of paying $3 for like this much hummus, right? I'm just gonna learn how to make it myself. And once I have those ingredients, it's gonna be cheaper. And oh my goodness, it just like changed my life. It just like got me addicted to hummus to the point where I bought like a whole bag of dried chickpeas. And then I was like, okay, I need to do something else with these dried chickpeas. I mean, I could use them all for hummus, but I don't know. I was like, I want to do something else with these chickpeas. So then I like roasted the chickpeas, and that's also great. And chickpeas in general are so great. I want to put them in everything. In fact, I'm making some soup tonight. I could add chickpeas to the soup. That would not be bad. That's what my brain is like now. I'm just like, chickpeas on everything. And the other thing that's nice about having hummus is if you eat it with pretzels take a while to go stale. And even when they go stale, you can't really tell as quickly as you can with other chips. So I've had like this bag of pretzels for like a month. And whenever I make hummus, I'm like, let's make sure the pretzels are still good. And they're still good. So it's just, I don't know, it's like a long lasting snack. It takes a really long time to expire, which is really good right now when we're trying not to go grocery shopping all the time. And then the other sort of snack thing that I've really been loving, basically since this time last year, is hot chocolate. Specifically the Swiss Miss hot chocolate. I'm gonna tell you guys the best way to make hot chocolate. This is the only way to make hot chocolate, is with some water, not milk. I know, you're gonna say, what? I have to make my hot chocolate with milk or it won't be creamy. Okay, here's how you get it to be creamy. You add whipped cream. I don't know. For me, it's perfect. Hot chocolate made with water, with whipped cream and chocolate and caramel syrup on top is like the best snack in the world. That's my go-to snack right now is hot chocolate. I don't know, hot chocolate is underrated. People act like it's like a kid drink, okay? Sometimes it's night and I want a warm drink and I don't want something with caffeine in it. And chocolate does have caffeine in it, but the box that I got says it's 99% caffeine free, so shut up. I don't know, hot chocolate, it's great, okay? I sound like the guy from Polar Express. And that's the last thing that I had to talk about. Those are the things that I really enjoyed this year. I know that none of them are like crazy revolutionary discoveries, but whether or not they're new and fresh and cool recommendations, they still were they kept me entertained during this freaking crazy year. And I think that counts for something. But what about you guys? What have you been enjoying this year? Especially in terms of TV shows and movies, I feel like I've really been lacking in that area. So if you have recommendations for TV shows or movies, please let me know in the comment section. I have a lot of free time right now. I'm not teaching a class again until February. So seriously, if you recommend something, there's actually a high chance that I will watch it. So like, I really, really do need your recommendations right now. So please let me know in the comments what sorts of things you're watching, listening to, generally enjoying. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe because we put videos out every other Friday about music, media, linguistics, and whatever else is on my mind that week. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.